Good morning, children. Happy morning to you all. I believe you are all safe at your home because of this coronavirus, COVID-19. We are not able to come to school. So we are having this on all the last week you had online classes. Now it is going to be a recorded video for you so that you can learn the lesson better. So we are going to have 8th standard science, crop production and management. The title signifies you the importance of food, isn't it? So let us start with a quote of Mahatma Gandhi. If you give me rice, I will eat today. If you teach me how to grow rice, I will eat every day. Isn't it? Instead of just giving them something, we have to teach them how to do that thing so that they can do it all the time. So here we are going to teach you how to grow the crops. Let's see what are the safety measures about this coronavirus. I have given you a slide for that. First of all, you have to maintain social distancing 1.5 to 3 meters between you and other people to prevent transmission of the COVID-19. Stay in. The virus is spreading quickly and you might be infected without even knowing. So please stay at your home. Don't be going out. If at all you want to go out, you have to wear a mask and take precautions and go. Avoid touching your face, nose, etc. often so that your body will not get infected, because the infection goes through only those parts of your body. Wash your hands well often with soap, alcohol based any sanitizers. Don't take unnecessary medications until your doctor advises. Similarly, contact your doctor if you show any symptoms. Okay, so you learned about this. Let's move to the lesson crop production and management. So you all would have learned that to morning itself you would have had your breakfast. Why are you having your food? To give you energy. So that is very important. You have to walk, run, talk, etc. only if you have energy. That energy is given to you by your food. Food is essential for our survival. It gives us energy for doing various activities and also provides the materials required for the growth and maintenance of our body. So where do we get this food? We get the food from the plants. So growing plants and rearing animals for food, clothing and other useful products is called agriculture. Growing plants and rearing animals for food, clothing and other useful products is called agriculture. So we are going to see here the agricultural practices now in the past and today. So now let's see different kinds of food grown on a large scale, isn't it? Only if one plant you are growing at your home, is it going to be an agriculture? Just no, it is going to be just growing a plant. But plants of same kind grown on a large scale for food, clothing, etc. are called crops. You are growing a similar kind of thing in a field, in a particular piece of land, same kind of crop is grown, then you call it as a agricultural practice that crops are produced. For example, if you take maize grown in a large field, it is called crop of maize. Similarly, everything you call mango garden means it will have lots of mango trees. So everything in a piece of land, if the same kind of crop is grown, you call it as a crops. Plants are grown, you call it as a crop. So depending upon the season, so we are growing different kinds. So if you take mango, will it be available in September or November? No, it will be applied only during May, June, like that, only during the summer season. Even watermelon, that means some crops will grow in some season. So sometimes that's why we say seasonal crops, seasonal fruits, etc. But some crops are available all through the year. That is different. but few crops are available only in a particular season. Based on growing season, the crops are classified as kharif crops and rabi crops. We are classifying them into kharif crops and rabi crops. So what are kharif crops that are generally harvested in June, between June and October? So kharif crops between June and October. Example for kharif crops is rice, maize, cotton and groundnut. Example for kharif crops, again I am repeating you, rice, maize, cotton and groundnut. Similarly, rabi crops are planted in November and harvested in April. So, example for rabi crops, wheat, barley, tea and gram are few examples. So, the types of crops also we learned, rabi crops, kharif crops depending upon the season. Now, let's see how these crops are grown. Some examples I have given you here also. See, sowing of seeds begin in the rainy season around July and harvested in October as I told you. Example, rice, maize, bajra. And rabi crops, seeds sown in the beginning of November or December and harvesting happens in June to July. Example, wheat, mustard, peas, etc. Which one I told you. Now let us see what are the processes involved in the agricultural practices. So there is a sequence for it, isn't it? How morning we get up, bath and eat your food. There is a preparation method. So similarly, crops also are prepared in a particular series. For growing crops, farmers perform a series of activities in a particular sequence over a period of time. These activities are known as agricultural practices. Farmers practice a sequence. This is called as agricultural practices. So what are and all involved? First, what do you need for growing a plant? Soil. So preparation of soil. How the soil is, how good is the soil is. Can we grow, you know that cotton grows in a black soil. So different kinds of soil are suitable for different plants. Now we are going to see how the soil is prepared for growing a particular type of plant. Thus, there are three processes in soil preparation. One is ploughing, second one is leveling, and third one is fertilizers, applying fertilizers. So, this is how the soil is first prepared. So, in the agricultural practice, first one is going to be your soil preparation. Second one is selection and sowing of seeds. Third one is irrigation. What is irrigation? Watering of crops. Next, weeding and crop protection. Weeding is unnecessary plants that are grown between the crops or to be taken out. And crops has to be protected from pests, etc. That is weeding and crop protection. And the last one is going to be harvesting and storage. After harvesting, we have to properly store it. Then only the grains can be properly used. So this is about the agricultural practices sequence. So let us discuss about each thing in detail now. First comes your soil preparation. So if the soil is hard, you cannot grow the plant nicely. The soil has to be loosened. Why? Because then only there will be circulation of air and it can grow nicely. So the processing of loosening and turning the soil is called a ploughing or tilling. So in the preparation of the soil, what is the first step we learned? It is going to be ploughing. What is ploughing? It is the process of loosening and turning the soil. You call it as a ploughing or tilling. So this process is very important. Why is this loosening of soil is very important? Because it allows the roots to reach deeper in the soil. This helps to fix the plant more firmly to the ground, so that the roots can go deep inside and fix the plant properly to the ground. Next one, it helps in trapping air in the soil. So I told you, there will be air circulation. It can trap more, which is necessary for the roots to breathe. Like us, roots also should breathe, so that it needs some soil loosening to get the air inside. Next is, it helps the soil to retain moisture for a longer duration. So it helps the soil to retain moisture. So the water will penetrate deep and there will be moisture for a longer time. It helps the soil to mix well with the fertilizers, but it will also help to mix the soil with the fertilizers. Then it helps in the removal of undesirable plants called weeds. So that if the soil is loose, the weeds can be easily pulled out. So this ploughing helps in, first of all, to reach the roots deeper and to trap the air inside for the roots to breathe, to retain moisture for a longer time, and it also brings nutrient rich soil to the plant, to the top of the plant. So it helps to mix the fertilizer well and remove the weeds. So these are the advantages of ploughing. So organisms like earthworms also helps in ploughing. Not only we are ploughing, even our earthworms are also ploughing. Now we will go detail about the ploughing. What is ploughing? What is a ploughing tool, etc. So if you take an earthworm, what it is going to do? It is going to burrow into the soil, turning the soil upside down so that the soil gets loosened, and this loosened soil mixes with the dead plants and animals in the soil and provides humus. The soil will get humus. So to plow the soil, that is nicely to loosen the soil, we use a tool called plow. Plow is used to loosen the soil up and down. Next we'll see this plow. See, can you see in this picture? How is a plow? There is a plow shaft, plow share. It is connected to a rod and it is going to be tied up to the beam of the which is going to pull. You can see two cows are pulling the plow. So that beam is being attached to this plow. So plow is you and other tools needed for large scale production of crops are called agricultural implements. With plow and other tools which are helping in agriculture, you call them as agricultural implements. So apart from this, we are using sickle and all. These are also used. But nowadays, in modern days, we have a different type of plows. You can see that they are called cultivators. A plow made of wood or iron nowadays is called cultivators, which is driven by tractors, are increasingly used for plowing. In our traditional method, what plow was used? It was only it was pulled by the cows. But in the modern method, tractors are pulling this cultivators. They save time and also the effort, isn't it? An animal need not be used for that. The machine is there for that. So the animal can have some rest also. So the plow helps to loosen the soil. Any instruments that helps in the agriculture, you call them as agricultural implements. Now we have seen about this plow. This plow is now modern days plow is called as cultivators. They are driven by tractors and are used for plowing, and they can save your time and effort. Already I spoke about this earthworm. The burrowing action of organisms such as earthworms help in loosening and turning the soil. This earthworms helps you to loosen and turn the soil. So because of this, these organisms also help in the decay of dead plants and animals in the soil. This process leads to the formation of a substance called humus, which is rich in nutrients for the plants. Humus helps in the growth of the plant. Can you see the earthworm picture? See, that is how the earthworm looks. Actually, in your 6th standard, you learned about this. Earthworms will have gizzards which help in the excretion of the waste that is going to be useful for the soil. The same thing. The earthworms add humus to the soil. Now we have plowed the field, isn't it? So we have using the cultivators or some plowing instrument, we have plowed the field now, loosened the soil for air, water, fertilizer, etc. Now the soil is ready. Now we are going for the next process, that is leveling. After plowing, it will be somewhat lumpy, up and down lumps will be there. So you have to make it level up. That leveling, even after plowing, big lumps of soil may remain in the field. These are crushed using wooden or iron planks, and that process you call it as leveling. So you can do this leveling using levelers, which is used going to make the soil to be a plain surface. So we have plowed it, leveled the soil. Now we are going for the next process, that we have to, what you should do? Sow the seeds. For that you have to select a proper seed. All the seeds may not be good. So you have to select a proper kind of seed and sow. Once the soil is prepared, the next work is selection of seed and sowing of seed. So these are what are the ways you can do. Quality of the seed should be good and free from all diseases. The seed should be good and free from diseases. The seed should be planted at a proper depth. Not over, we cannot just strew the seeds. You have to drop it at the proper depth so that it can respire and could not be eaten by birds. If you just put it on the top of the ground, birds may take it and eat it. So we have to keep it at proper depth. Proper amount of water should be given, not so much or so less. You should not put more water or less water. Just you have to sprinkle the water till the seed is grown. Every seed should be sown at proper distance. That is very important. You can't throw all the seeds at one place, because if you throw everything at one place, they will not have the place to grow. They may not receive proper sunlight or anything. So they have to be sown at proper distance. If the seed will be sown at high distance, so it will be the wastage of the field, and it will be sown very closely, then the seed will not get proper nutrients. If you sow it at a greater distance, romba dura durama potalo, it is the field will get wasted. No, so much space will be wasted. But if you grow it in together also, it may not get proper nutrients. That is about the seed selection and sowing. So the sowing of seeds, again they have given you how to do it. Everything can one you cannot do it. Nowadays we have machines for that which are doing. So now we can see in the traditional method they had some pipes and dropped it into it using funnels. Okay, so they'll in a pipe they'll put all the seeds at equal intervals. They'll allow it to spread. By hand they are putting using seed drill. These are all traditional methods. That is by hand or by using funnel, by seed drill. So these are some methods which are used for the seedlings. So last, leaf stage seedlings in nursery is ready for transplant. Transplanting of single seedling in the field. See how they are, even paddy and all, no? First they will be clone and cluster in a seed bed, that you call it as. After they have sprouted, they will keep it at a நாத்து நடுறதுன்னு சொல்றோம் இல்லையா, அதுதான். They'll keep it at different distance. So you can understand that now. First they will be strewn in a seed bed, then they'll take it out and put it at proper distance so that the seed can grow nicely. So how to select the seed? So if you want to see a proper how the seed is healthy, how will you know? Just take a beaker, fill it with water, put a handful of any seed. Here I have given it as wheat. You can put it. Put a handful of seed, and if you can see, the good seeds will be at the bottom. They will be nicely synced. Whereas bad seeds, or the seed which does not have any nutrient in it, it will be hollow. Empty means hollow. So they will float on the water. So that is going to be the bad seed. So good seeds which are going to be immersed in the water, that only you have to use it for sowing in the soil. So that is how we have selected the seeds now. We have now prepared the soil using the plowing, leveling, and also we have now added the seed. After the seed is put, now the crops are growing. So you have to add fertilizer. So what is meant by fertilizer? It is nothing, any material, natural or synthetic origin, that is supplied to soils or to plant tissues to supply one or more plant nutrients essential to the growth of the plants. So in simple, fertilizer is a material that enhances the growth of the plant, nothing else. It gives some extra nutrient to the plant. How when you people are little bit sick or something, your mother will give you some soup, isn't it? So to add the nutrient to you. Similarly, the soil nutrient is little bit added using this fertilizer. So this fertilizer, how it is added, they are using some sprays or using machines, they are spreading this fertilizers. It's nothing but a chemical, it may be chemical fertilizers or natural fertilizers. Natural fertilizers is nothing but the manure which we are preparing. So natural fertilizers are very good for the soil and it adds nutrients to the soil. So nutrients are replenished in the soil by mineral fertilizers and organic manure. See, cow dung is also a manure. So it decomposes and produces minerals in the soil. And similarly, it give you can see the process. It gives potassium. P stands for phosphorus, K stands for potassium here, N for nitrogen. So these minerals are given to the soil using this fertilizers. So let us see about the organic fertilizers and chemical fertilizer. Organic is nothing but the manure. So let us see the differentiation. Chemical fertilizer is an inorganic salt. A fertilizer is an inorganic salt. A chemical fertilizer is prepared in the factories and it does not provide any nutrients or humus to the soil. Fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. These chemical fertilizers are inorganic, they are prepared in factories. They do not provide humus. They give rich nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Whereas if you take manure, manure is natural fertilizer, that is which is prepared at our home using cow dung, etc. Rotten vegetables, etc. Manure is a natural substance obtained by the decomposition of cattle dung, human waste and plant residues. Manure can be prepared in the fields. Manure provides a lot of humus to the soil. Manure is relatively less rich in plant nutrients. Chemical fertilizer nutrients konjam kammi da, but it gives humus to the soil and it is prepared in our fields at homes and it can be obtained by the decomposition of the cattle dung, human waste and plant residues. So this organic fertilizers, see how these both are working. The diagram you can see now. So organic fertilizers, they give organic matter and soil and microorganisms to the plant. Whereas chemical fertilizers just giving nutrients, that's all, nothing else. So this chemical fertilizer is not good, only the manure is good for your soil. So from this we can conclude that these reasons are going to use, for these reasons we are going to use organic fertilizers. There are different types of organic fertilizers that you can buy in a gardening shop. But instead of buying it, we can make it. We are going to make a type of organic fertilizer that is known as compost. Compost is nothing but the whatever peeled out vegetables we have at your home. You can dig a pit or in a pot you can put it and add soil and dried leaves. It will give you a organic fertilizer. So after this we'll see now the next class. I'll take you about the next practice, that is going to be the irrigation. Now let's close here up to the selection and sowing of seeds and fertilizers. So we'll see the next one in the next video. I believe you all understood up to this. Go through the lesson so that you will have a better understanding, children. So, and you try to do this assignment which I have sent here. Thank you, children. Have a good day.